Well, congratulations. How does that feel?
Feels good. I mean, I've cooled off now about 25, 30 minutes, but I'm still riding that high. Feels nice, but I can't wait to go home and spend time with my wife.
So, can you talk to me a little bit about heading into this fight? Is that kind of how you pictured the fight going? Did you feel like you might have to fight all 3 rounds with him?
You always got to prepare for 3 rounds, mentally, physically, spiritually. You got to put yourself in just a place, to go. Just to be willing to drown, to be willing to drown someone, you got to be willing to drown. And that's the mentality I get in. I've had visions, I've had dreams of knocking them out, but you can't go in there and just expect to knock the guy out and it doesn't happen. And but it did tonight, and it felt nice. And I definitely dreamed that one.
I know you weren't in there very long, but was there anything about him that surprised you in there?
No, I was just in the moment, flowing, reacting, seeing things, looking for openings. And my time came, got the big punch, knocked him out, put a stamp on it.
Do you feel like you're one to believe in superstitions?
Nah, I don't. I'm not a superstitious guy. I'm, just a faithful believer in God, and I'm a faithful believer in hard work and perseverance, and just going after it.
What's next for you?
What's next is go home. Wife's gonna have this baby. Take some time to just be there for her. I literally missed the whole newborn phase of my firstborn, Bam. So I don't want to miss this one. So I'll be there for her. Be there for the baby for a little bit, and then we'll get back to work. Maybe August, September. Like I said earlier in media day, I'd love to fight at the Spear.
Do you have an opponent you'd like to fight there?
There's multiple options. There's if Lopez gets through Sadiq, that could be a good one. Or I could take out maybe the loser of Ortega and Yair, one of those guys, depending on how their fight goes in Mexico City. But I know they're going to want to stack it for Mexican Independence Day with a bunch of Mexicans. But I got a left hook like a Mexican too, so it doesn't really matter.
Last one for me. Do you have any picks for the Super Bowl? Do you watch football at all?
I don't really watch football. Sorry, I don't have a pick.
So do you even know who's in?
I know who's playing, but I don't want to just randomly throw a team out there because I don't really care for either of them. Sorry.
Thanks.
Hey Dan, does a fight with Giga excite you at all?
It may oppose itself. It's kind of like this fight, with Feely. Like, just each other. It's hard, man. You can't have any friends in this sport. You can't. No more friends, man. It's just, I'm trying to win, man. I'm trying to climb the ladder, and we'll see what happens.
I mean, it's kind of every time you go up against like a prospect or someone a little bit lower than your rankings, you go out there and put their lights out. Like, is that just kind of a warning to like all these prospects like stay out of your way?
It doesn't really matter, prospect, ranked, champion. I have the ability to do that to anyone. Andre Feely's one of the best in the world. Andre Feely's been in the UFC for 10 years and can be a champion on any given day. Just tonight wasn't his night. I put his lights out, but I have the ability to put out the lights of anyone in this division. I'm pretty sure I just broke Joe Pyfer's record on that punch machine right before I fought. Ask Eric. He took a picture. I don't even know what his score is, but I hit it 40%. And I broke the record.
Speaking of that, there was a little bit in your career where you were going these decisions, but man, these past couple of years, like you say, you're putting these dudes' lights out. What's changed?
Just finding my range, finding my rhythm. Like when I first got in the UFC, I just fought. It was more so out of like fear. I didn't know how to set things up. I was just hit the guy before he hits me or knocks me out. So I always had to bring the fight to people. And then I got a little more technical. Then I started fighting a little slower. Then I would lose some decisions. But I know I have the ability to hurt anyone. It's just, picking my shots, setting it up, and, being relentless out there. I know I'm one of the best, and it's all about just putting it together mentally, physically. I prepare like like no one else. I go into a fight, I literally leave no stone unturned. I check every single box, and sometimes that doesn't get you a win. You know, that's the shitty thing about this, because you could do everything right and lose, you could do everything wrong and win, but I always do everything right, and tonight just went my way.
I'd be willing to bet you that you're getting $50,000 for your performance. So I'm guessing, is that going towards the new baby, or what's up?
Dude, I'm just trying to create generational wealth. I'm trying to set up my success for me, set up my success for my kids and my kids' kids. And I don't know how these fights went, but I should get all the bonuses tonight.
I agree. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dan over here. I saw there was a moment there after you won where you, Coach Eric, and Andre were exchanging words. What were those words like?
I told him I loved him, and he told me he loved me too. And I said I was sorry, and it's just business, you know. On a personal note, I love Andre. I love Andre Fili. He's a good dude. He's fun to be around. You know, we've trained together. That's why I took this personal, because he was the first. I didn't get like a list of names. It was, hey, Fili wants to fight. That was Sean Shelby's text. Fili wants to fight. I was like, all right. Like, that was the last guy on my radar. Now this guy wants to fight, so I had to flip that switch and be like, F this dude. You know, this is business, and I'm gonna go out there and let him know this is real. This is a fight. So I knew I couldn't go in there and be his friend tonight, but I truly do love that dude, and I admire him, and that's just the sport we're in.
It's awesome. And I've kind of noticed when you look at your career and your career trajectory, there's been times like maybe you've been booked against a high-ranked guy and it might not necessarily go your way, but then you turn right around and you face like a prospect like they just mentioned and you put their lights out. So I guess, how do you approach that situation mentally when you look at your career trajectory and how it's going?
It's probably comes down to maybe putting pressure on myself of, hey, climbing the ladder, big opportunity, main event, you know, and then I just put a little too much pressure on myself where I'm not completely focused in the moment, or I'll overtrain myself, and I just, you know, sometimes you wake up, it's fight day and you're feeling flat, and, you know, there's no excuses. You just got to go through it. You could do everything right, like I said, and show up fight day, and it's just not your day. And, you know, you're judged. Literally your whole entire career is judged by minutes in this octagon. You know, no one sees, I mean, you guys know, but no one sees the day-to-day work that we put in, the sacrifices that we put in, you know, spending time away from family, going to the gym, you know, just taking damage, sparring, you get beat up, go home, still have to, you know, be there, be present, be a dad, be a good husband, go back, do it every single day. It gets repetitive, but you're just programmed to just, I don't know, I really don't know where I'm going with this, but, you know, I live as if I'm a champion, and I treat myself, and I do everything I do is I'm the champion, and that's just the mentality shift. And I feel like I'm really maturing, you know, 32 now, and I don't even know if I could say I've reached my prime, but I'm still getting better.
For sure. And after a knockout like that tonight, I'm sure the UFC might be keen on booking you again against someone higher ranked than you. So if that comes true, how differently would you approach the situation now?
It's me versus me, man. I know that sounds cliche. People say that, but I can't put anyone on a pedestal anymore. You know, sometimes you put these guys on a pedestal and you get in there with them and be like, dude, he's not that good, or he doesn't hit that hard. You know, that the UFC's job is to promote these fighters and make them look like these unstoppable beasts. Like, they're going to put highlights reels of me just putting dudes out with one punch. And just can't go in there with that mentality. You just got to go in there, focus on your own ability, my God-given gifts, and use it to my full potential.
Would you say one of your God-given gifts is your ability to kind of shell up and boom? I mean, it's like an art to see you do that.
Yeah, I've always known I've hit hard, you know, from day one when I walked into Extreme Couture. I don't think Ray Cefa was lying to me, but he told me I hit like a middleweight. And, like, you just kind of believe it, and then you hear it from other people that have no relation to Ray Sefo, you know, then I'll hit pads with like Mark Henry or Henry Hoof or whatever, just someone completely different, and be like, wow, man, like you can crack. And it's just, what is this common theme? Then you kind of buy into it, and just, I really do hit hard, but it's just finding the button.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Dan, do you feel like there were fights that you lost because you were talking about putting somebody on the pedestal that you did not perform your best because you thought you expected more from them?
Yeah, I mean, you could never be so sure, but, you know, a few of those fights, like I know Korean Zombie, I just kind of had a one-sided mindset, which just knock him out, and then he came out with a completely different game plan, and I didn't have the ability to adapt in the moment. Movsar was another guy that it just was tough and tricky, you know, and I had 17 weeks to prepare for that dude. So that should be more than enough time, right? But it's just, you get to fight day and you're just like, you're spent. And then you're just a shell of yourself, but you go through the motions because you've trained for 17 weeks. And, you know, a lot of these guys that I've lost to, I know I can beat them, but it's just, sometimes you're only given one shot, one opportunity, and you fall short. And but that's the beauty of MMA. You know, no one's perfect. You don't have to. It's not boxing. We don't have to have a perfect record. You know, I put together a couple highlight reel KOs. I'm right back up there in the mix as a contender. So that's what I have over everyone, and I'll be back.
You described a few minutes ago the physical toll that all the training takes on your body. What is more difficult to deal with, the physical toll that it takes, and when you come into fight night, you know you're not at your physical best because you've been through these 2 months of hell, or is it just the mental, knowing the grind and all that, and does that wear on you after a while?
I can't put a percentage on the mentality, the mental game, but I really think it's more mental than physical. You know, we can all experience pain, but these mental hardships and just not burning out, you know, when you do the same thing every day, it's easy to burn out. So, you know, honestly, spending less time thinking about the fight, finding different ways of self-care, ways to unplug, I feel like that's been key for me. Having something outside the gym, you know, I have a wonderful church. I have great friends there that have nothing to do with fighting. They all know I fight now because they're my friends, but when I walked in there, it's like no one knew I was a fighter, and it was just my place where I could just like kind of let go of the fighter, you know, just be Dan Ige and just be loved for being Dan Ige and not, you know, 50K.
And having a family, and you know, especially a young family like you do, how much longer do you want to do it? Because I know you want to be there at Little League and in soccer and whatever that kids do, right? So how long can you motivate yourself to do this when you have the young kids coming up, and you know you're getting you're over 30 now, so you got your the mid-30s coming up?
Yeah, it's hard to put a number on it, but for sure I have 5 years, and I could reassess. You know, I could reassess in 2 years, but I take care of my body. You know, I do everything. I cold plunge, I sauna, I hyperbaric, I do red light, I get in the sun. You know, I eat healthy. I've never had a surgery. You know, I've never been knocked out. I've never had a broken bone. Well, besides like skating, I used to get jacked up all the time when I was a little kid skating, but there's my knockout right there. That was sick. Watch this. I didn't want to do this, but bing. Sorry.
You know, Masvidal, when he did that to Ben Askren, said it was super necessary, I guess. Did you feel that was super necessary to throw that last one?
It was in the moment. Honestly, I gave Herzog a split second, but he didn't jump in, so I had to just nail the coffin.
Thank you. Congrats.
Thanks.
You got the 50K.
Sick. That's it.
Dan, let's talk about, we know that the Hawaiians are massive combat sports fans. How has the Hawaiian community supported you and helped you throughout your career?
You know what? It was nice to finally carry that Hawaiian flag again tonight. I haven't carried it for a few years just because they banned flags, but they brought them back. So I carried that flag with pride. You know, I've been in I've been in Vegas, Ninth Island, for 8 years now. This is my home now, but I love Hawaii, and I'll always carry Hawaii on my back.
Last night at Power Slap, Dana White spoke about his desire to bring Power Slap to Hawaii. He said the UFC has never been there. How big would that be if they were to bring Power Slap and the UFC to the island? And would that be something that you'd want to be a part of?
For sure. I mean, Brad says it all the time. Like, this is probably the closest we've ever gotten to UFC Hawaii being the ninth island. But I would 100% be, you know, I'll fight on the fucking moon, dude. I don't care.
One last one. Are you a Power Slap fan at all?
Dude, I've only seen like Instagram. I'm sure there's nothing more than just dudes getting slapped, but I've only seen Instagram. I've never actually tuned in. Sorry, Dana. It's fun to watch. Dudes get knocked out. I wouldn't say I'm a huge advocate because it is, you know, it's just brain damage, but whatever.
One last one. Any prediction for next week's fight between Volk and Tapura?
Fight's a fight, man. Anything can happen. I'd say Volk.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.